Good day, members. This is Jamie Ryan, your Executive Officer with the New Brunswick Real Estate Association. It's my pleasure to have again our Education Officer, Dwayne Hayes, and we very much appreciate having Jeff LeBlanc, Home Inspector in Moncton, joining us. We are going to be sending you information on a regular basis on real estate transactions in New Brunswick during a state of emergency. Your association has identified 5 different areas of interaction for real estate during this time. 1, homes and property with pending sales but need to satisfy conditions. 2, homes and property with firm sale but not yet closed. Sellers with homes and property for sale. 4th, buyers looking for homes. 5th, sellers wanting to list home and property. We will be sending information as much as we can, even bundled together with these items, but we're focusing on one area on this information video. And please note that these instructions for best practices could change based on updates from the provincial, federal government, and public health authorities. So today we're going to be talking about home inspections. I'll turn it to you now, Dwayne. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jamie. And thanks for joining us, Jeff. I guess I have a couple questions for you, Jeff. And one of them is, how should inspectors handle doing inspection under the current state of emergency and with the social distancing measures in place?
Thanks for having me, Jamie and Dwayne. I certainly appreciate it. In my opinion, you know, right now we're out there inspecting, and I believe as home inspectors, we have to be following the rules of the government and the health authorities in our area. So, you know, if I can give any advice to inspectors out there, they should be really reading the release from the government of New Brunswick and following those guidelines. It's our best practices, and we got to keep everyone safe, including ourselves, our employees, the realtors, the buyers, sellers, and our whole community. So following their instructions is my best advice. Great.
So Jeff, what measures are you taking for your inspections staff and the clients? What are you guys doing specifically to protect everybody?
And that's a great question. And I certainly didn't want to give them the advice of what I'm doing, but I'll explain to you what we're doing. So on Tuesday of last week, which my memory shares was the 17th, we made a change in our policies to have absolutely no face-to-face contact. This was prior to the emergency services being announced. We did this for a few reasons. First of all, I believe it was the socially responsible thing to do at the time with the information I was given, along with a lot of conversations I've had with my staff. So I have a group of inspectors, a team of 4 inspectors that are out in the field on a daily basis. Their opinions were very important to me. So we did talk about that a lot, how they felt and what level of comfort they felt. We were doing the social distancing thing with still having face-to-face meetings with our clients, but it was uncomfortable to my staff. So we decided to move from that right to 0 face-to-face meetings. So what we'll do is when we set up an inspection, we actually ask that the purchaser, we explain to them how we're going to be operating, and then we email all parties of the transaction with our new policies. So we're emailing the listing agent, as we don't have the seller's contact. We message the listing agent, the purchaser's agent, and the purchaser, all with the same message. So we ask the sellers if anyone has been out of the province or out of the country, I should say, in the last 14 days, or if any of them have any symptoms of the flu or cold. We're hoping those answers are both no. So once those answers are no, then we request that the seller not be present when our inspector shows up to the inspection. They know what time we're going to show up, and we'd like to have them not present at the time, so that our inspector can go into the home feeling comfortable and knowing he's not going to see anyone. Now our inspectors, they take some added measures as well. So we're wearing disposable gloves before we get out of the truck. We've had some talks about how to remove those. That's the most important thing about wearing gloves, is how you take them off. And then we're disinfecting our tools and anything that comes in contact with anything in the seller's home. I'm also having daily updates with my staff to make sure that none of them have developed any symptoms. They are to notify me or the office immediately if that does happen. And none of them are going to be traveling, and none of them have traveled. so we can do our best to remove any potential of spread from us to the seller's home. With the seller not being there, we're not touching anything with our hands. It's all using disposable gloves and our tools. And then we're not meeting with the buyer at the home as we normally do to do a recap of the meeting. That will come later on. So that way my inspector now leaves their home in the morning. They go to the house and inspect. They go to another house and inspect. They come home and they haven't seen anyone. So in my opinion, we're doing the most socially responsible thing out there.
That's great, Jeff. And so for the buyers, what options would a buyer have to get their information from an inspector and review that information?
Another great question. Yeah, so what we've done is we've become entrenched into video conferencing like we're doing now. So we're using those tools with our customers. We'll give them the option of having a telephone recap. They're always going to have the report in advance of that phone call so they can look over the report and understand what we were pointing out. Some of our less technologically savvy customers want just a phone call. And we have had some people that want to have, say, their realtor involved in the conversation, or maybe a friend or family member that is an advisor. And in those cases, we'll do what we're doing right now. We'll have a 3, 4, 5-way video conferencing call where we're able to share our screens and go through the reports, and we'll give the customer all of the time that they need to answer any questions. We've had some positive feedback from all sides of the parties. So like the realtors have been very positive, encouraging of the way we're doing things, as well as our buyers. They're very happy that we're taking their best interest into account as well. And my inspectors feel very comfortable about it. Actually, I'm talking to them at the end of every day, and everyone is very happy with how it's going and how it's progressing. We're spending more hours in our day right now, but we're doing what we need to be done to make sure our customers are properly taken care of.
Jeff, I really appreciate the measures you guys have put into place for protecting your industry and helping our industry and helping our mutual clients. Jamie, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, and thank you, Jeff, for your time today and Dwayne's setting up for this interview. What's really important is take what you can in terms of best practices from what Jeff has shared. If there's a different home inspector that's involved, you should be asking some important questions about their safety practices, and that should determine your comfort level. We will follow up this video with some written materials, but please stay tuned for other series and more information coming your way. Thanks again. Be safe, get informed, and do your best during these difficult times. Thanks, Dwayne and Jeff.